supposed to do Something's Burning. I'm just fucking. I did 2 last night, and we're set. We're like set well into November with them already, and I'm just like, I'm sick. I'm not sick, but I'm just fucking. I was sick, and I'm getting out of it, and I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
Tom and I have to do 2 bears, 1 cave. We do 2 of them tomorrow. And so.
Yeah, I mean, are you just podcasting every day you're in town?
Right now I am, yeah.
Yeah.
You're the one I'm excited about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like I'm watching my little sister blow up.
Oh, that's so nice. I straight up, Judy was like, would you want to do Bert's podcast? I was like, if Bert wants me to do it,
Shut
sure.
the fuck
but
up.
like, no, truly, I was like, I don't know. Like, maybe he's like, I get much better people than that.
No, are you kidding me? I am so excited. I'm so excited. You're doing 2 shows in Portland for your Netflix special. You're one of the few people Netflix is giving a special to that is brand new.
Yeah.
You're doing an hour special, and we're here to sell tickets.
Yeah.
I have a good group of fans in Portland that have probably not seen you perform with me.
No. I've only been
Kelsey
to Portland.
came with me once.
Yeah, I've only been to Portland once. Back in February, I did Helium, and it was
Well,
great.
this is at the front of the podcast. I will have already have said this. But you are one of the. I just told Georgia, you're one of the funniest human beings I know.
Oh my gosh, that means so much coming from you. Seriously.
The only reason I fucking worked with you is because you're fucking hilarious. You didn't
that's
party.
So nice.
You didn't party at all.
No, it was not because I was like cool.
That
was not the reason.
Yeah. You're fucking 20 years younger than me. You're female. You got all the strikes against you.
Yeah, but I kind of look like one of your daughters.
You look like you'd be Georgia's sister.
Yeah, I've posted like Throwback Thursday photos, and people are like, "You look like Bert Kreischer's daughter."
A lot of people say that, and then as you walked up, I was like, "Should I say something to Georgia?" But I didn't want to say anything, and I was like,
"Well, you don't want her to see me and be like, that's what you think I look like." Like, you don't want her to be bummed.
No, she'd be. Yeah. You look great. You're fucking skinny as shit.
Thank you so much.
What? How do you? Are you dieting? Or are you really?
No, I'm not dieting. I just was going through stuff.
What were you going through?
I
Stuff
mean,
you can't see. You're an interesting little anomaly in this life.
Yeah,
because there are things you share that I'm shocked you share.
Really?
And then there are things that you don't share. You're kind of private.
So I feel like I don't keep anything private, and I'm learning right now that I need to keep things private. And I'm curious to know what you're surprised that I share.
That you're passionate about wanting to get married.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's
shocked.
perfect because I called off my engagement a couple months ago. So that's what I've been dealing with. Yeah, which, not to get into the details of it, because like that's not fair to him, and we're still figuring things out. But essentially, the important thing is like, we are not ready to get married, and I am not ready to get married, and like I really felt ready, and then I think beyond just like the issues we were having, which again I won't get into, but the stuff outside of it, I was like, why did I get engaged to somebody that I hadn't been with for longer than a year?
I was very interested in that. And and once again, I'm obviously I'm always going to take your side on everything, but I'm not picking sides. I'm not
putting, there's no sides.
No, I'm not saying that I didn't want you to get engaged.
Yeah.
I listened to you on Elliot in the Morning. Shout out to Elliot.
Yeah.
And I was interested in your passion about getting married.
Yeah.
I was curious. I was like, I never knew that side of you.
Oh, yeah.
At all. And then it happened so quickly, it seemed to me.
Yeah.
And you were so, I'm going to say this knowing that I've known you a long time, and I feel like I'm never going to offend you. I never mean to offend you. But there was so many parts of you that I did not see, like the fact that you guys had like matching shirts on, and I was like, wait, who's this Taylor? I didn't know this person at all. But wait, so what was the like? What I mean, did you just get cold feet? And you're like,
no, it's not like that. It was just like I don't want to talk about specifics, but like we had an issue, and then I didn't react to it well, and then we like basically just the important thing about it is the last couple months I've been like, oh my gosh, like regardless of whatever issues we have, the important thing to realize is like I just shouldn't have been engaged right now. I shouldn't have been like. It was
an interesting.
We had a date, like we were gonna get married like May 30th next year. Like we were like, and it was just like we were so in love. We're like, why not? Like let's just do this. And I'd never felt that way about anybody before. and I've never wanted to be around somebody all the time.
Yeah.
And I do want to get married. I think being married is going to agree with me. Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, because it agrees with you. Like, I've heard you talk about how much you love it.
I love being married more
not similar. Yeah. We're like, you like to party and you're more fun than I am, and I'm not fun, so I feel like marriage will be even better for me.
I'm not fun might be my favorite thing you've ever said.
That
should be a coffee mug. I'm obsessed with coffee mugs these days. I'm not fun. You should make t-shirts that say I'm not fun.
Yeah, I might. That's a great idea, actually.
Why do you think you're not fun?
Because you know what? Because I'm so careful, and I'm just really scared about getting like addicted or dependent to or on anything. Yeah. Although, I take an edible every night to sleep, and I, will smoke weed during the day sometimes now, but that took a long time for me to be okay with that.
You were looking forward to marijuana.
I was.
In a weird way. You were saying it curious the way I said it in 9th grade. Like when I was in 9th grade, I was like, I got to try this.
Yeah.
I remember you were being like, well, I'd love to go on Getting Dug with High. Do you think that'd be a cool place to get high for the first time? And I was like,
oh no, I think he asked, or you said you should do it for the first time, and I was like, not for the first time. Like, I'm too scared, but I'm like, but yeah, I want to see how it is. And I'm still really careful with that. But like, yeah, like this is a lot, but like my psychiatrist gave me a prescription for Klonopin because I've been having like really bad reactions to like other anxiety and antidepressants that she's put me on over the last 6 months, like physical, like messing with like my heart and stuff in a weird way, like just not great. And so she was like, I'm going to give you like 10 Klonopin. And I'm like, she's like, I was like, okay, but should I be nervous about that? Because I've told you, like, I think I have addiction in my family, and I'm nervous about being addicted to something. And she was like, yeah, well, you can't abuse it, because if you abuse it and then you stop taking it, you'll die. And I was like, and she's like, and you're going to want to take it forever. She's like, you're going to take a little bit and it's going to make everything better. And you're going to wonder why I can't do this every day. And I said, well, why can't I do a little bit every day? And she goes, because then you might get Alzheimer's. And I said, okay, so why would I go on this? And she's like, it's just a temporary fix for right now. But like, she told me to take half of one. I took a quarter.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I've always been that. I have Xanax, and they said the same thing with Xanax. They're like, Xanax will melt your brain.
Yeah.
So don't take it all the time. And I have prescribed half a milligram, and I've never taken more than a quarter.
Yeah.
Because I just go, if I need it, and by the way, there are times where I am spinning out of control. My blood pressure's up because my mind's racing.
Yeah.
And I've needed it to chill the fuck out. And it makes you feel like, so is it, my dad said it perfectly. The first time he ever took a Xanax, he went, is this what normal people feel like?
Oh,
Have you taken one yet?
I took one. I took a Xanax. I got that a couple years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. And I took one, and I just felt like my anxiety was smothered, and I felt weird, and I didn't like it. And I was just prescribed by a doctor. I wasn't seeing a psychiatrist, and talking to my psychiatrist about it now, because I was taking another anxiety medication, and I said, that's how I felt again. And I was like, I think maybe I just am okay with that this time. What do
you think you're anxious about? Or
everything.
But what, when I look at you, you have everything going on in your life. Do you feel, I'll tell you things that made me anxious as a young person in this business. And I wonder if they're connective with you. I didn't feel comfortable in my skin as a comedian, as a entertainer, as anything until about like 4 years ago.
Really?
I was very, very, very uncomfortable in my skin.
Wow.
I couldn't have genuine conversations because other things would preoccupy my thoughts. Like I couldn't sit with people that were successful sometimes, because I'd think, I was thinking about this the other day. I would think, how do they not worry about money? Like how do they have so much money? Like, how do you make money in this business?
Yeah.
How do they not have any worries? How do they do that?
Yeah.
Like, and I was doing fine, successful, but I was not comfortable. Like I felt like I always had something to prove, that no one, and when I did get opportunities, they would overwhelm me.
Yes.
And you'd be like, am I ready for this? Am I not ready for this? And but the truth is, If it's happening to you, you're ready for it. You can't stop it.
Well, I don't know. I wanted to talk to you about this because part of the reason I was like, I don't know if Bert would even want me on the podcast to promote the special, because I feel like you've said a lot, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, that you're like, female comics get opportunities too early and they're not ready for it. And my first thought when I got the special, I cried for 45 minutes when I heard I got it. I was excited for about an hour. First off, I sent Netflix an hour in the hopes that it would prove to them I could do half an hour.
Yeah.
And the fact that we got the hour is, honestly a testament to our manager, but
no, it's not. No, I love you, Judy. It's not. It's not. It's a testament to you. That's it.
But that was my thinking going
Judy's got a lot of clients that don't have hours. She'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And by the way, I was one of them fucking 2 years ago.
Right.
I think Judy is a miracle worker. I fucking love Judy. I'm never talking trash about Judy.
Yeah.
But it's you. You're the one that got the hour. Listen, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I do believe women get opportunities earlier and are thrust in situations that myself would not have been ready to do. Mm-hmm. But you don't have a choice. That's the fucking truth. You're getting dropped off on the beaches in Normandy.
Right.
And you just better be fucking ready for it.
Right.
Look, you look at like, and I know I probably talked out of both sides of my mouth on this issue, but you look at Amy, and Amy, at times I think she probably bit off more than she can chew, but when they put her up for that hour, she was ready for that hour. That's the one thing you can do good.
Yeah.
The one thing, look, you may not be ready to star in a sitcom, write a book, and have a movie all at the same time.
Right, yeah.
That you may not be ready. That's a lot. And that's what maybe I need to clarify my statement, is that's what happens to women in this business, is Tiffany Haddish does, by the way, I love Tiffany. I love everyone. I'm just saying what happens is Tiffany Haddish does great in a movie. She's ready for that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, people go, well, fuck, we don't have any more. We got one Tiffany Haddish. We know how lucrative a Tiffany Haddish can be to us. We need to fucking spread her thin.
Right.
And I think that's what happened. That's what happens, by the way, to talent.
Young talent.
Young talent gets Gerard Carmichael.
Yeah, like the new hot thing.
They're like, yo, we need to get this kid on everything. And there are specific examples like Gerard Carmichael, who is fucking ready across the board.
Yeah.
And can literally spin a million plates, doesn't have drug and alcohol issues, and is ready for it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, how long have you been doing comedy?
Since I was 16, so 10 years next year.
If there's one thing I know you can do well, it's stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that I'd put my money on, it would be an hour special for you. And you're just an authentic voice. You're very different. They don't make comics like you anymore. Like, it just doesn't happen.
No,
they used to be, I'm saying, like, ones where you just, dirty guys loved it. Like, you know who's one of my favorite comics? I'm thinking I'm gonna fuck her name up. Megan Mullany.
Oh, Megan Gailey?
Megan Mulrooney.
Oh.
It's Eddie Pence's wife. God damn it. I'm so fucking bad at this. She was Megan Mulrooney. Will you Google Megan Mulrooney? She was someone who's just fucking flat out funny. Like, just fucking funny, like you. And she could play to any crowd. You went up in front of how many fucking drunk, beer drinking, marijuana eating, UFC loving, space alien believing fucking people. And not once did you ever have a struggle in front of those.
Yeah, that's just, your crowds are like such comedy fans.
Yeah, and you're a fucking straight up comic. You're not doing bells and whistles up there.
Well, yeah.
You're doing straight up comedy.
Yeah.
That's what people love. And that's why you got the special. Because you do stand up comedy. You're not up there preaching some fucking agenda.
Because I don't know anything. Like, that's the one benefit of being young right now, is that I can commonly just go, I can't weigh in on any of this stuff because I don't know anything and I'm stupid, and I don't want to 3 years from now go, oh, I thought I knew and I didn't. Yeah. Like, I think I'm pretty self-aware in that way.
So is getting the special, does that give you anxiety?
Yes. Oh my God. I seriously,
that's good though.
I cried for 45 minutes just like on my fiance's chest at the time, just like, I'm not good enough. I'm going to blow it. I don't know why they gave it to me. Here are all the people they didn't give it to that should have gotten it. I don't deserve it. It's that imposter syndrome. And it's like.
Imposter syndromes are very accurate. I've had that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you only felt like yourself 4 years ago. Like that kind of shit terrifies me.
But then the one day that you start feeling like yourself, you realize there's a lot of, all that anxiety was good and all that anxiety drove you forward. Yeah. And that not feeling ready for something is the best feeling you can have. Because you will be prepared.
Yeah.
It keeps you up at night. Look, I'm not saying all I'll say is my Showtime special, I was ready for it.
Yeah.
My last special, I was fucking ready for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so nervous about a special not being good that I'm fucking ready for them. I know what I need to do in order to get ready for them, and it keeps me up at night. I get obsessive about it. Mm-hmm. I fucking am probably a little unhealthy, but it provides the road work I need to get to where I need to get.
Right. But then it's such a balance too, because if you run yourself into the ground.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
You're not
that.
gonna run yourself into the fucking ground.
Yes, I have. I've consistently done that.
No, you're young. You'll bounce back.
Nope. No, I totally disagree. It's why I'm so careful about drugs and alcohol and sleep and all that stuff. Because like, if you already have like anxiety and depression issues, you have to always be monitoring yourself and making sure you're okay.
What if you just let loose?
What does that mean? What if I just became an alcoholic?
No,
Bert?
it's not an alcoholic. It's just fucking cut loose. Why do you think that you having one drink would lead to alcoholism?
Oh, I don't think me having one drink would lead to alcoholism. I think
By the way, I don't disagree with
you. Getting drunk.
What?
I think if I knew what it felt like to be drunk. I've like tasted alcohol, but I'm like, why would anyone do this unless they were getting drunk? I could have a soda. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm drinking a root beer. It's my favorite thing in the world to drink is root beer.
That's what I'm saying.
I love root beer. Yeah. And then they made that dad's not your dad's root beer.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I think I just found my home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm already trying not to have sugar, and that's not gonna put me in a meeting. So if I want to have a treat, like let's just
so interesting. Like, why? I love that you said treat. My life is defined by treats. But it's always been fascinating to me that you feel like if you get drunk one time, then you'll be addicted. Because that's not how it works.
Know. I don't know if that's true. I think I just don't even want to mess with it because I don't want to find out because it's not worth it to me.
That's totally valid.
It's in both sides of my family. I just feel it in
like
me.
How bad though? How bad though on both sides? Like how bad though?
Like bad. Like my grandpa drank himself to death essentially.
Yeah, but he grew up in what, Bakersfield in the fucking 30s?
No, in SoCal.
SoCal, where? But what years?
I think Whittier. I don't know.
What did he do? He was like a frontiersman?
No.
What did he do?
I don't even know at this point. Now I'm like, I don't remember.
But like, don't compare yourself to your granddad. You're not your granddad.
I know, but it's like I'm
not trying to convince you to drink. What I'm trying to convince you to do
like you are.
is let go.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a delicate balance of that because the older I get, like when I was younger, people would be like, you should just let go and just drink and see if you like it. And you don't know. And as I get older, the more people I talk to, they're just like, yeah, don't even touch it. Like, don't even mess with it. Because those people have gone through the ringer now. Even like people my age who are like in it right now, they're just like, yeah, just don't touch it. Like,
well, I can say that with cigarettes, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to smoke a cigarette. Don't ever smoke a cigarette. And I'd say that with acid, with LSD, there's no reason to fucking do LSD. I don't think so. Right. Mushrooms, try them. I think.
I'd try mushrooms. I wouldn't before getting drunk or something.
You would?
Yeah. I just feel really strongly, and I'm sure it's part of how I was raised. And like my dad never drank. Like he felt really strongly about it. And the times that I say this on stage, but I'm like, yeah, the only times I have ever wanted to drink is alone in a Holiday Inn Express. And by
the way, that I remember you telling me that, and I was like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
Like, that's not when you should do it. It's like if you only wanted to go skiing at night. It's like, then maybe just don't. That's not when you should do it. Yeah. So you should do it with friends and for the right reasons. And it's like, no, I only want to do it in the dark when it's just me. And like, yeah.
When did you start noticing like depression, anxiety issues in your life?
When I was probably after my mom died. So when I was like 10. My mom died when I was 8. And I think that's another big reason why I'm so careful is like she died when she was 34. this is very common, but a lot of like kids with dead parents feel like they're only going to live to be how old their parents live to. And once you survive past that age, you feel like this survivor's guilt. So I have that to look forward to if I make it. But it kind of informs your decision. I think it's why I've rushed certain things. And in some ways that served me where I'm like, I got to be successful right away. And then in other ways, you're like, you rush relationships or you rush big decisions because you're like, I only have 9 years left. So
you're going to live past 34.
I mean, I think so. I know that logically. But like the emotional belief, that's what's hard to break. And it's a lot of therapy and whatnot, but there's just so much self-talk you have to do.
How did your mom pass away?
She had cancer. Yeah.
What kind?
She had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then her aunt died at 34, the same thing. So. Do
you get tested for cancer?
Yeah, I haven't gotten tested for the BRCA gene yet. I need to.
What's the BRCA gene?
It's to see if you have the breast cancer gene. Because if you have a gene, if you have the BRCA gene, you have like an 80% chance of getting it. So a lot of women will get the test, find out they have it, and then just like lop their boobs off if they do. Just like, let's just nip this in the bud.
Really?
Mm-hmm. One of my sisters got it. She doesn't have it, which is good. And also it's why I'm so careful about like health stuff, because like my mom had like night sweats for months and the doctors just kept going, it's hormones. And then it ended up being cancer. So you just like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You have such a heavy for such a light person. You're such like, and you really are one of the lightest, funnest, silliest, like you're just a great comedian, but there's a heaviness to you that I guess I didn't know that your mom passed. For some reason I thought she was still married to your dad.
No, my dad got married to my stepmom like a year after.
Really?
So they've been married a long time. Yeah, and they're like a really compatible, great couple.
Did you listen to Stephen Colbert talk
yes,
to?
I retweeted it. It was so good. Talking about losing his dad and his brothers and grief.
Yeah. And what he said something that all of a sudden you realized not everything's safe or something like.
Yep, 100%. And that's how I felt since I was 8 years old, where I'm like, most people live in this bubble, at least until like after college, where you have this invincibility about you. Like when you're a teenager and you're like 21 and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to get drunk and black out because nothing bad's going to happen to me. That's what happens in movies. And I have never had that. I have always felt like, yeah, bad stuff happens and it can happen to us and you. And so you have to be really vigilant about the things you can control, which, isn't much at the end of the day.
That's crazy. And he said it made him, what was interesting about that, and I listened to that, and I've never lost anyone, thankfully.
Yeah.
But he said that what was interesting about that is he felt connected to humanity.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way? Did you feel like you,
yeah. The only thing I could compare it to, and it's different because one is very happy, obviously, but the way people talk about having kids, how it like opens up some part of them that I don't understand because I haven't had them yet. You understand because you've had them. You're like, I didn't know I could love someone that much. I didn't know that part of me existed. It like engaged. It's like that part of you like lit up and stretched out. And I think really intense traumatic grief does the same thing, where you find like parts of yourself that help you empathize with other people more and become more like focused and a little, maybe there's like a depth to you that I do appreciate now that I'm older. But in some situations that makes it harder to connect with people who maybe don't have that yet.
Like I'm not to say that we didn't connect or anything, but like when you see when you were around someone like me who literally is almost like carpe diem,
right?
Fuck it. This is gonna last forever, guys.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Pat? Let's go to a strip club.
Right.
I mean, what was that like working with me where you were like, yeah, I'm not, like, because you would go back to your room and work, and I would go out to a cigar bar or to a strip club.
Yeah. I think I envy that. I think I envy and admire that about you, because I don't feel like I can be that way because of the fear I have probably so deeply ingrained in me. And again, in some ways it's really helpful and it helps you focus and be successful and whatnot. But like, I'm sure on some level, seeing someone so successful who is able to live that way and you really seem to enjoy every part of life and be very present in a way that maybe I haven't figured out quite yet. I have moments of being like present, But for the most part, I feel like I'm either thinking about the future or the past. I have a lot of trouble just being in the current moment. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different thing. Like I tend not to connect with people who are, out partying or whatever as much, because for me, I'm like, the stakes are higher for me. You know, to me, it's not just fun.
That's insane. It's so hard for me to wrap my head around, because I wish I had more of you. I wish I was more careful.
Really?
Yeah. I just recently, this past month, everyone will have heard me say this a million times by now, I'm sure, but I was home, and I always say to myself, I'm going to be home for a little stretch. I should get healthy.
Yeah.
But I really took it to heart this time, and I've drank very minimally, and I've lost, I think now, about like 13 pounds, and I'm feeling a lot better. Although I got a little sick I had a cigar the other day, and immediately it fucked my allergies up, and I got a chest infection. But I started saying to myself, it's for the first time, I've never thought this way ever. But I started saying, like, what if I've done some irreparable damage to my body that I'm not going to bounce back from? Like, I was worried about my blood pressure. So my blood pressure was bouncing all around, and I was like, and I rode a bike from LA or Philadelphia to Atlantic City.
Oh wow!
And I have normally been very good at physical activities, but for some reason I had been partying and I hadn't slept, and I had flown in, and I just had a really hard time with this bike ride. And that night I just had, like, my toes were numb after the bike ride, and I was like, and they weren't getting back to normal. And I was like, and I came home the next day, I took my blood pressure, and it was really high. And I was like, and I've been flying all day, and I was like, all right, I've been thinking, like, and now obviously my blood pressure is 100% fine. I'm just saying that for people that are maybe concerned, but I went to the cardiologist, and I got all the tests run, and he's like, you got to lose some weight. Your liver's getting fatty. You got to lose weight. Fatty liver's not good. That turns into all a bad list of bad disease. So you need to lose weight. And I started going, what if I've done irreparable damage? And I started looking back at times where I just was not worried about the future at all. I remember, I think of one time in particular where me and Steve Byrne got into a car in Washington, in Seattle, at like 4 a.m. to fly home, and I had a 12-pack of Heinekens, and I drank 6 on the ride to the airport. And Steve was laughing, and I was laughing. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I don't know, Steve. Like, I really, all the times I just said, and especially it's like you start hanging out with older people who are having ailment issues, and you see them, like guys I know that have done a lot of coke, and they're older, and then their hands are shaky, or they're looking more feeble. And I started going, well, I don't want to be an old person. Yeah. I don't want to be, why wasn't I more careful when I was younger to take care of my body and treat it like a temple? And then you start, look, my neighbor is 70 years old. She's the age of my mom, and they just put a ramp into her room. She was a legit, when we moved in here, she was a hardcore alcoholic, but was coherent.
Oh, wow.
She would drink a box of wine every night and smoke a pack of cigarettes. Yeah. And I celebrated it. And in my head, I was like, fucking get after it, Mary. And yeah. And then I was like, that's my canary. And now I'm watching her, and she has to wear a big belt, and the guy holds her by the belt when she walks. She has a walker, and she can't see well, and she doesn't even know who I am anymore. And we've only lived here like fucking 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. And I go, I wish I was more careful. Like, I start saying that. I go to spin class, and I noticed that there was a time where I do spin classes, and I loved the challenge my body felt. Now I'm like, fuck, get me out of here. Do you think you're going to look at life and go, I wish I wasn't more careful when I was younger?
You wish, like,
do you think you're going to see the flip side? I wish I was
less careful.
I wish I wasn't more, like
maybe married. Yeah. I don't know. That's the question I'm always asking myself is, and I had those questions while we were engaged, where I'm like, oh, I hope I'm not making the mistake. Because my mom and dad got married when they were both still in college. My mom didn't finish. My dad was finishing, like, when they got pregnant with me, and was like really stressed out.
You're the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. Just another part of it, I'm sure. But
yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, and like they got married at like 22, and and my dad's always said like wait till you're at least 27 to get married, and I've always been like, yeah, that seems right. Like I always wanted to get married when I was 30, and I think honestly part of it was like I want to get married before career stuff gets too crazy.
Dude, too late.
I think that was a factor. I think part of me is like, before I have
no, that's so silly.
Things go, I want the stability. I want somebody there, and
why? Your fucking life is about to be so fucking fun.
I know, but I crave stability more than anything else.
Really?
Yeah, I really do, because when your parent dies super young, you're like, oh, cool. So that can happen. The person who's supposed to be there forever, gone. Got it. And then my dad got remarried, and then she got cancer a few years later.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. And she was crazy healthy. Like so healthy, so thin, so like just doing everything right. The doctor told her like maybe she was eating too much tofu, and that maybe that contributed to like estrogen or something for breast cancer. I mean, she beat it, obviously, but like, just I've seen so many people get cancer that I go like, cancer's coming for everybody. So even if I'm super careful, so why would I even tempt fate further? Like, all right, then I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Cancer's coming for everybody is fucking hilarious.
I feel like there were like 8 months, maybe like 6 months of this like February to June of this year. I was the happiest I have ever been in my whole life. I felt totally safe and loved and stable, and like everything was going great, and like my career stuff was happening and relationship stuff was happening, and I found my person and I did all this shit, and I'm like, I'm gonna have kids in a few years. Like all these things were coming together. I could not believe how lucky I felt. And the whole time I was having horrible nightmares about all the horrible things that could happen. I was having like so much anxiety where I'm just like, the other shoe's gonna drop. Because I don't.
That's what, everyone listening right now can identify with that.
Yeah.
Everyone, when things are going great, you're like, well, when's the hammer falling?
Yup.
Everyone feels that. Halston deals with depression.
Yeah.
He's talked about it. Yeah. He didn't realize he was dealing with it until he did a podcast with Leanne.
Really?
He was just listening, and this woman was talking about what depression was, and Halston's like, motherfucker, Whoa. I've got depression. Yeah.
That's crazy.
He talked about it on Leanne's podcast. I don't know if he's ever talked about it on my podcast. I'm sorry if I just outed you, Halston. But you edit it. You edit the podcast. If you don't like it, take it out. Yeah. But yeah, and I don't know. I definitely deal with depression, but I think I must not have it like bad. Mm-hmm. Because I can get past it pretty quickly.
But you have panic attacks and stuff.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
And I have catastrophe thinking.
Yeah, me too.
Where I start, I mean, it can be somewhat overwhelming. Where I start to spiral out on the silliest things, and it makes for really shitty parenting sometimes. Like
really?
we got into a knockdown drag out fight last night, like a legit, probably one of our family's biggest fights last night, because I bought these stupid fucking Tada swords. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are, to be honest with you. Georgia knows what they are. Georgia saw them. She wanted one. I bought 3 of them. One for me, one for Isla, one for Georgia. And then we get them, and we basically, I don't know what you do, but you like let them go, and then they go like a saber.
Oh yeah.
And then you can push them back up. And Isla opened hers, staring at it, and it hit her in the face and hit me in the back of the head. And I thought it cut her nose off. Like I thought it split her nose. And I don't manage. I don't manage well.
Yeah.
And she was scared.
Yeah.
Georgia was laughing.
Yeah.
Which makes Isla upset.
Yeah.
I think Isla is seriously injured on my watch because I bought these stupid fucking things.
Right.
And it spun out of control so fucking bad.
Yeah.
And the only one that held it down was Leanne. And she had to like fucking put us all in our separate corner. It was really nasty. But and then there's a part of parenting that is absolutely terrifying. Mm. Like I would argue it's not even worth ever having the kids?
I kind of feel that way sometimes. I want them so bad, and I don't know if I can handle it.
I'll be honest with you. I remember one time we were at my parents' house. My parents have a pool. The girl, Georgia I think it was just Georgia, and Isla maybe had just been born, but Georgia was walking. And I was sitting in the thing. I wasn't around the girls. I didn't know where they were. I thought Leanne was with them. And my dad goes, who left the goddamn door open? God damn it. Is she in the fucking pool? And in a split second, I realized I'm about to go look in the pool. And if my daughter's dead, then none of this was worth it. I would rather never have loved than feel this loss. Whatever that flood was so horrific. And she was fine, and she wasn't in the pool. She was upstairs with Leanne, but the door was open. And I remember thinking, why the fuck did I have kids? I don't need this vulnerability.
Yep.
That vulnerability is, and it does open a side of you that until it does, you don't know what it's like, and it's really great. And then it sucks. And then one night your fucking daughter opens a sword in her face, and you think she loses her nose, and you're going, oh my God, what am I going to do with I got to parent a daughter without a nose? Like, I
got to parent a daughter without a nose.
I mean, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying having kids. It's terrifying living life.
It is.
Do you feel like there is some sort of aversion therapy training that would maybe help you?
I did some of that in high school. In high school, because after my mom died, I didn't know that anything was like weird about me or how I was handling things, but I became very, very terrified that me and my sisters were gonna get, or something would happen to my sisters mostly. Yeah. We're gonna get kidnapped. We're gonna get murdered. I used to I had insomnia all through middle school, high school. I would pace up and down the halls of our house thinking if I fell asleep, the house would burn down and my family would die. All that kind of shit. Had no idea what was going on. Was severely depressed when I was 15, and my best friend at the time was I think you have depression, because she had that in her family. And so she knew, I didn't even know that was a thing. And she's you should probably see someone. And I told my dad that. I was I think I need to see somebody. And by the time I saw somebody, she was you are depressed. She's but it's because you're so anxious. She's you are so terrified that all these things might happen or whatever. She's you are depressing yourself with your anxiety. She's they all go hand in hand. And that made a lot of sense to me. And we had the most helpful thing that happened with me going to her. And I started going to her right before I started doing stand-up, and stand-up helped so much. Yeah. And in therapy, she would say well, what are you afraid is going to happen? And I'm we're going on a road trip this weekend. I'm afraid my dad's going to get out of the car and someone's going to get in the car with me and my sisters, and we're going to get carjacked at a gas station, and I'm going to have to save my sisters and all that. And she's okay, so let's pretend that happened. I'm I don't want to think about it. She's yeah, but let's pretend that happened. What can you do? Are they going to hit a stop sign? Can you jump out of the car? I'm then my sisters are in the car. They're okay, can you get the license plate? Can you do all these things that you could do in that situation that helps you take control back, which helped for a while. Yeah. And I think now my brain's wired to do that. And that can be its own unhealthy spiral where you have to learn to go, I can't control any of that. So I just need to not think about it for a minute. And I got into a pattern, I think, of going, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if this happens? And I go, okay, well, these are all the things I could do if this happens. Okay, so these are all the things I could do. It's fine. And then you just spend all of your free time catastrophizing and thinking about what might happen, and it isn't happening. And then if it does happen, you're okay, well, this is what I decided in my head would happen if this happened. So this is what I'm doing, regardless of what it is. Well, this is what I'm doing. And you just that can be its own, you don't assess, you don't take a minute. You're I've been terrified this whole time, and it happened, and I knew it would. And okay, all right. I knew it. I'm so stupid that I thought the universe would let me be happy. All that stuff just.
I still to this day think if I don't pay respect to the things that terrify me, if I don't give them the respect of being a little terrified of them, then they're going to happen.
Yes.
If I don't respect the fact that I could die on this plane, then if I just go, it's just a plane flight.
Yes.
There's so many successful ones. If I don't pay respect to the fact going, this might be my last day on earth, then if I don't pay that respect, then I die.
I feel that so hard. Oh my gosh. Yes. I always think that I'm like, if I don't expect something to happen, it will. Yeah. Because that's what happened when I was a kid. I was like, I never thought my mom was going to die. And then she did. And I was like, okay. So I guess from now on, I got to whack all these moles before they pop up.
Fuck. I wonder how many people are listening to this podcast right now going, I am so that person.
Yeah. If you are, I'm so sorry.
No, but I think that I wonder if there is more of a population of, because I am that person, but I am also the person that lives life a tad bit callously and goes.
Well, and you haven't lost anybody. So maybe if you had lost somebody, you'd be totally different. I don't know who I would have been.
Yeah.
If I didn't lose a parent. Like I'd be totally different.
Think?
I think in a lot of ways, probably.
But how much of your dad's parenting was him losing his wife versus who he was before and after?
Oh, I think after my mom died, he really I think he did kind of revamp his life a little bit. I mean, he had a new job and a new wife, and he was kind of a new person. And at 34, which is young, a lot of people get married the first time at 34, mm-hmm. and he's trying to be what we need. I don't think my dad started dealing with the fact that he lost his wife until like this year.
Really?
Yeah. And he's told me that. He's been like, yeah, he's like, I just didn't have time. He's like, I had 4 daughters who were all under the age of 10 and my wife died. He's like, I didn't have time. I had to go back to work.
He meet someone to marry with 4 daughters?
Here's what's so crazy. So the way that he and my stepmom met, my stepmom worked with my grandma, my dad's mom, in Southern California. We lived in Northern California. And
you lived in Northern?
Yeah, we lived
at the time?
Modesto.
Did you always live in Modesto?
Escalon and Modesto. Life? No, up until I was 10, and then we moved to Temecula.
Okay.
Yeah, because my dad got remarried. So my stepmom just heard that my mom was sick through my grandma, heard what our family was going through, whatnot, Christian giving church. She just gave us money for hospital bills. I don't even know how much, but after my mom died, my dad was calling people saying hey, thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. All those things. And they started talking, and her engagement broke off, and then they were talking, and he took some time to figure out if he was ready for that. And they just, 10 months later, they're married. And really? Here's my dad's religious. So he wouldn't have sex before marriage. And he was a music teacher. He had no money. He had 4 daughters, all under the age of 10. I'm like, how fucking smooth is my dad that and my stepmom's hot. She was like Celine Dion when they got married. Oh yeah, so hot. And I'm like, this guy would not sleep with you. He's got all these kids. And she had multiple houses, a boat. She lived in this house. Yeah, she's a really successful real estate agent. She had all this money. Really? My dad had no money. He won't have sex with her. He has all these kids and all this debt. He's paying off my dead mother's student loan bills still, and her hospital bills, because those don't die with you apparently. And you're just like, how did you manage to be that? That's how much game my dad has.
It's so funny. When I think of your dad, I do not think of game at all.
You haven't met my dad?
No, I haven't met your dad, but the only thing I know, I want to say your dad's my age, but the only thing I know.
Yeah, I think my dad's 50.
I'm 46. Yeah, your dad's my age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
By the way, how fucking bizarre is that?
Yeah.
You were traveling around with a guy on the road who's not only your dad's age, but another guy who's older than your dad, Brian Regan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking insane. By the way, you fucking scored with fucking working with comics.
Oh, I know. Because
you couldn't find... you're my ace in the hole. If anyone ever comes out and tries to lie about me and say I'm a sexual harasser.
Oh yeah, no, call me. I'll tell them.
I go, no,
yeah.
But you got 2 really solid dudes to work with that never marginalized you, never. No. How fucking lucky.
And so different. And
very
so
different.
At the top of their game in their own respective genres of comedy.
Very different audiences too.
So different.
Who did you kill harder in front of? Brian's fans?
Oh, yours for sure, because his were you went up ice cold for 20 minutes. It's just you going up in a theater ice cold. People are still sitting down in some places. But yeah, some of them were great. But also, when I was working with you, I feel like you had just started selling out clubs.
I just started selling tickets. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I started working with you, it was like, I don't even think they were 2-person shows. There's usually a host before me. So I had like this great feature spot. So it's a little different. And then when you're going to see a comic in a theater, I mean, I don't know if your openers now feel this way, but like there's a little bit of like, at a certain point, people are kind of like, yeah, but where's Bert though? Because we're kind of here to see Bert. Even if they're crushing, even if they're doing a great job, there's some people in the room going like, but where's, which I'm so glad, because like the month before Brian's manager reached out the first time for me to open for him, I had taken my dad for like a Christmas gift to see Brian Regan. Really? And his opener, I don't even remember who it was, but it was great. Did a great job. But at a certain point, like maybe like 15 minutes into the set, you're kind of like, but when's Brian coming? Yeah. Because that's who I've been listening to since I was a kid. Yeah. That's who, your audiences, I'm sure, like, yeah, but we came to hang out with Bert. Like, you're great. Thank you.
Bro, like, my fans loved you.
They were your fans are great. I'm sure everyone.
I got very lucky in that I accrued fans from great comics. Like, meaning like a lot of comics shared me with their audiences, Joe included, probably Joe number one. But he had and has the best comedy fans. They're comedy fans.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of Brian's fans are comedy fans too, but a lot of them aren't. I think a lot of them are just Brian fans.
Yeah, they're just Brian fans. Yeah. I think Brian's got a, you can do a theater in the same town Brian's doing a theater and he'll still sell out.
Yeah. It won't affect it at all.
It won't, nothing affects his ticket sales.
No.
He's not to pivot from anxiety and depression, but I'm curious about what was it like to go from hosting or featuring to headlining, like that first year that you started headlining?
Trying to think of the first.
Because I'll tell you my experience, and I'm curious if you had it, is I had a lot of people wanting to prove a point to me that I wasn't ready to headline. Like I had a lot of men, especially black men. Black men were the fucking worst.
Featuring for you?
Oh, dude, black men. By the way, a couple of them I had rough times following, but I really respect. And a couple of them fucking still hate to this day.
Yeah.
And black men were not nice to me. Just across the board.
How old were you when you started headlining?
Jesus Christ, how is this possible? 2004, Georgia was born. I was 32 when I was headlining when Georgia was born. But I got my first tour, like meaning like legit improv Funny Bone called, and I'm doing like 30 dates when Ida was born in 2006. So I was 34 when I first started legit headlining around the country. 34, right? Okay. But 32, 33 is when I started headlining, and I'd get fallout dates.
Yeah.
I'd get the date. And it had to be before that too, because before I was married to Leanne, I was going in and doing Thursday and Sunday.
And
then like Kevin Pollak would come in, or Louis C.K. would do Monday or Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday. But you would get in your 30s at 31, 32, 33, 34, I had a lot of rough fucking weekends where it was like someone wanted to prove a point. They were 37, they were 40, they were going to teach me a lesson and put my dick in the dirt. And it was, and by the way, the clubs wanted, at the time, the clubs didn't believe that LA knew what they were talking about with headliners.
Yeah.
So you'd get sent out and they'd want to you could not bring anyone with you. You could never bring someone with you. And the club would put you with someone who would fucking try to bury you. Yeah. And it was a lot of people that, and then you'd meet really cool motherfuckers like Nikki Glazer came out and featured for me in Richmond. And I was like, I didn't know who she was, but I was like, she's cool. Let's hang out. Well, I'll take you in and do radio with you. Like, it was just nice to be with someone cool.
Yeah.
But what was it like for you because you
it's
started
only been
headlining,
like
what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, like 2.5 years ago. It hasn't been that long. And I mean, clubs still, like, just now, I'll put in feature requests like a few months in advance, and clubs will be like, oh, we already booked somebody? And I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like, so how far in advance do I need to request this?
Yeah.
And my agent was like, probably like, yeah, just as soon as possible. So
year.
That's what I've been putting in like for next year. It's just like, all right, well, can we get this approved now? But then other times they'll ask me the week of, like, who do you want? And I'm like, I would have loved to have known that. Nobody I want now is available. But yeah, you know what?
By the way, that's bullshit. And the club, I want to just say this.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. The clubs, that's bullshit. They're lying to you.
I know they are.
They're lying to you because they want control.
Right. And I have noticed, not so much with the improvs, because the improvs, like, I'm rep by Levity, so I feel like they're a little nicer. But like, there have been other clubs that I won't mention, but there are other clubs that I definitely feel like they're like, yeah, you can headline, but we are going to book a road dog who only does our rooms featuring and will like probably die featuring in our rooms. But we know he can kill for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. And we're going to make sure, like, it's almost like they don't believe that I can do it. So it
hadn't changed at all.
Yeah.
That was the...
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I feel like I'm being suspicious sometimes. I'm like, you're being paranoid, but I'm like, I would be, but I don't blame those clubs for feeling that way. I am a 25-year-old girl. In some places, I was 22 or 23. Of course you don't think I can crush for 45 minutes to an hour. Of course you don't think I can. And of course you want to make sure that I'm not bringing a friend of mine who also can't, and then it's a terrible weekend. I completely get that. But it does always kind of feel like, all right, how many times do I have to prove myself? That idea of proving yourself. Ooh. It's like, do I just have to prove myself forever? Like, do I just have to get big enough?
It's
like,
forever.
Yeah, it's forever. But I understand why people feel that way about me, because I feel that way about me sometimes. So
you shouldn't. And you know what? It sucks, but it's nice to know there's equality in the fucking workplace. Because I'd like nice to know that, you know who had it worse than you or me?
Who?
Tom Segura.
Really?
Tom Segura, and no one knows this. I'm not sharing secrets, but Tom hasn't been vocal about this. He doesn't talk the way I talk about shit on podcasts. He doesn't just open up like a book. Mm-hmm. The one thing I got to say that's so cool about Tom is that he's got a real distinct set of pride in himself. Mm-hmm. Like he prides himself for being he knows he's funny and he's talented.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about myself. I thought was that it's imposter syndrome. Yeah. I always thought like anyone any minute now is going to figure out I am not that good.
Yeah. And
Tom would go in and and because, Tom's low energy, he's not going up fucking like me, ripping his shirt off, drinking. I mean, I could, all of a sudden, I had to do a few rounds at the clubs or one round at the clubs, and everyone liked me, and they were like, oh, I can't wait till Bert's back. Bert, who do you want? You know what we're going to do? We're going to book a big drinking feature act so you have a good, so like, after one round of doing the clubs kind of were like, he's a good guy, he sells drinks.
Yeah.
Let's make sure he's happy. But Tom, Ian Bag, they would just go in and they would do the work that was asked of them, not sit and do a meet and greet, not really sell merch, not try to fuck anybody, which is inane. They're blown away that Tom Segura is going in and being just a good employee and just going, I'm going to do my work and I'm going to go back to my room and I'm going to read a book and go to sleep, try to go to the gym in the morning. I'm going to definitely eat something, and then come back and do the work again. And he got put with fucking murderers that legit the club would go, why don't you just let him host and feature, and then Tom, you do an hour. So you do 45, Tom, you do 45. And Tom would be like,
so co-headlining,
but not calling it that.
Yeah. Oh wow,
it's such
that's
a
never happened to me.
Fucking thing.
Yeah, I've never, those stories you hear about people getting like switched and stuff, like I've never had that happen to me, thank God, but I've always been afraid of it happening, which is part of why I work so hard, is because like I would be so mortified if I went to a club and they were like, you know what, just have him do it. And like I've had some really great features and stuff, and like as I've gotten more credits, I feel like people understand more. They're like, okay, you've been on the Tonight Show, Conan, Netflix, like we get it, like all right, I understand why you're headlining. But like when I first started, I didn't have as many. I could feel guys going like, why the fuck are you headlining and it's not happening for me? You don't even have t-shirts you're selling. I have t-shirts, like all this shit. Like I have stickers. I put like just, you can just feel it. Or I mean, I would go into green rooms going like, I know, it's like, why am I even doing this? And they'd be like, well, it's good, like that kind of stuff, where you're like, all right, I was trying to get ahead of it. And I guess that's what this feels like. But also I've had plenty of guys who are like, I've tried to be self-deprecating. They go, don't do that. Like, no, you should be where you are.
Yeah, you should.
So it's not everybody, but yeah, those weekends that you do feel it, where you're kind of like, I mean, if I were in your position, I'd probably feel the same way. So I can't be like mad at some guy's been doing it for 20 years who just never pops, is just going to be a road dog forever, and is probably a little bitter or upset about it.
Never understand that the bar at the club was not where you're supposed to be after the show every night.
Right.
There's so many of those guys, and myself included. By the way,
but it's worked out for you. Like that's.
I think
it's not as simple as that.
I'm not gonna blow smoke up my own ass. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that panic that both of us have, some guys do not have it, and I've seen them piss away their careers.
Yeah.
At the end of every night, I was literally only at the bar because I wanted the fans to know I gave a fuck, and I was hanging out with the fans and drinking.
Yeah.
I drank regardless. I was going to drink, but for the most part, I looked at this as a business.
Yeah.
More than I never went up on stage drunk. I never got. I mean, by the way, I'm sure I did at times in my career. I can't say never, but I know for a fact that I would bring a drink on stage, and that was how the night started.
Yeah.
I didn't go up. I didn't get to the club and go, oh, let me get a pop. Let me get a few beers before I get on stage. And I think a lot of guys looked at it as like a vacation and didn't look at it as a job. And I think I took a lot of other aspects of the career very, very seriously as well. Yeah. My material, my I took chances when they weren't like, people go, I take chances. I made a rape joke last night. That's not a chance.
Yeah.
They can't handle what I talk about. That you're not taking chances. Take a chance and tell us. I mean, I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest chances I ever took was telling the Machine story. Fucking 12-minute story and learning how to tell it. That's a chance. Like, take a chance and do something different.
Yeah.
And so I think I just want to hear more horror stories of being a young headliner. And
the other thing is when you're like a young female too, you have to be safe too. So like I couldn't go, get shit-faced at a bar with a bunch of people from the audience by myself, because like doing a meet and greet is weird sometimes, because like your lower back gets touched a lot. And sometimes you get touched too much by people who aren't even doing it in a weird way. You get touched too much, and I know this happens to you too, but like there are like moms who come up to you and they're drunk and they're just like touching your face and every part and fixing your clothes, and you're just like, I can't do this in between two Friday shows. I can't have everybody paw at me. And no matter how nice they are or how well-meaning they are, and have like two creepy guys my dad's age talk this close to my mouth, and then I have to go back up and think about that as I'm telling jokes about what I prefer sexually. Like, I don't want any of that in my brain as I'm going up and telling strangers all of the most private things about me.
Yeah.
Because like, I need to be able to do that to be good at my job, and I want to be that type of comedian who's like open and honest of it. But it's going to make it hard if creepy motherfuckers are coming up like, it's like, you're making me not want to do this anymore. It doesn't feel worth it, Dave. Like, I just, I don't know. So it's even like, I've been like renting a car more often because you just never know who they're going to send from the club to pick you up. You just don't know. And a lot of times they're totally fine. And then other times you get a weird guy.
A lot of times they're really not.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're really underestimating or overestimating that sometimes they're really nice guys. Sometimes they're really not.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have fucking massive chips on their shoulders, and sometimes you get great people. Sometimes you get great people. That's true. That I never thought about that.
Yeah, but I'm like, I already got to go to radio with someone I don't know. So let's cut down on the airport trips, and if I need to go to Target for something, like let's just make that all in my control. And like maybe
that's really fucking interesting. I never really, I've thought about you going out on the road, but I never thought about what the actual logistics of that.
Yeah, and if I have a feature with me, like I did a comedy club on State in Madison a few weeks ago. Oh my god, such an amazing club.
Great club.
And Madison's really cool too. I'd never been.
By the way, the fucking two women that run that.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, that club
is. And they run it very, very professionally.
There's no check spot. Think about Checks Out. It's insane.
One of the best clubs. One of my favorite clubs.
Yeah, it's incredible there. And they let me request a feature. I brought out Hunter Hill. And there was he's a really funny comic. Yeah. He's an LA comic. He's Eliza's opener.
Okay.
So he was out with me. We had a great weekend. We went to the farmer's market. We had a water park. Like, we hung out all day. It was great. And then the last night, we got in the elevator at night, and there were weddings going on there. And there was a dude who was just fucking wasted, like some dude in his 20s. And he got in the elevator with us, and Hunter's floor was like 5, mine was 8, and the guy's was 7. And the guy gets in after me and Hunter, and the doors close, and it goes up to 5. The doors open, and Hunter just hits the door close thing and goes up and lets the guy get off. And I'm like, hey, thanks for that. And he's like, yeah, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no fucking way. I'm gonna leave you in an elevator.
I would have been like, see you later, Taylor.
Yeah. Like, yep. So I'm going to go FaceTime my daughters.
I would have been oblivious to that.
Get home safe.
I would have been fucking oblivious to that. I would have been like, hey, he's got it from the rest of the way. Take care. See you in the airport tomorrow.
Right. But like, that was a moment where I was like, yeah, I would have been real freaked out. And like, it would have been, who knows? Like, I'm not saying that guy would have done anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's some like douchey broy white guy in his 20s wasted in an elevator with me at midnight who you just don't know.
You don't know.
And having somebody else there, if nothing else, just to discourage people from being weird to you after shows or whatever is something, male comics just don't really have to think about.
Oh, you've seen me get sexually assaulted in lines.
Right. Yeah, no, you're
like, I've been straight up sexually assaulted.
Yeah. That's true. But you could overpower most.
I don't mind it.
You said it happens. Most women do it to you.
Most women. A lot of guys too, but guys really fucking rub me the wrong way. I've had guys do it to me where it's an alpha thing, and that rubs me wrong, and I shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I've been an asshole. I don't mind women touching my body. I don't like people touching my belly button. That really freaks me out.
Yeah.
But like, I remember we were in DC one time, and these lesbians kept grabbing my dick, and I just was like, I'm good with it. Like,
yeah.
What am I going to do? Cause a stink about it?
Right.
But you're like, but at the same time, you're like, and then other women see it and they're like, what the fuck are they doing to you? And you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to fucking wrangle this.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. And I never even noticed it until the Me Too shit showed up. I never noticed it.
Really? You're just like part of the job.
I was like part of the gig. And I remember, when Terry Crews said, this agent grabbed my dick, I went, yeah. You've never been around people that do coke? Like, I was like,
You've never had an agent?
I've had so many people grab my dick. So
really
many. Oh, yeah. I had a gay guy one time hug me. This is probably the most sexually assaulted I've ever felt. He hugged me. We were both in running shorts, and he put his dick on my dick, like pressed them together.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't think you're allowed to do that to people. It was so creepy.
Did you say that? I don't think you're allowed to do that to people? It made
me feel certain things, and I was like, what the, like.
It wasn't an accident?
Oh. He went, oh, come here. And he grabbed my butt cheeks and pulled me close. And I went, it's good seeing you too.
After a show?
No.
No, just outside?
No, it wasn't even, it was in regular life. It was.
Just didn't know who you were or anything?
No, he knew who I was. It was just in regular life. Like, he just sexually assaulted me out of nowhere. And I was like, by the way, I'm not putting light of what happened to Terry Crews, but like,
right.
I was just like so dumbfounded. Like, did that just really happen? But I would never turn the guy in. I mean, let him go through life doing that to people.
But I think some women reacted to some of the Me Too stuff with that too, of just like, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
guys suck. Guys slap them away.
Guys suck. Straight and gay guys suck.
Yeah, they're just like, guys suck. Yeah, what do you expect? And I feel like, was it Whitney or Amy? I feel like, was it Amy Schumer who had that in one of her specials where she was like, yeah, there's this new generation of women who's just like, have you guys been getting sexually assaulted like this the whole time? And they're like, she's like, oh yeah, I guess we have.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's it's like relative. I feel like Leanne talked about that on here, right? Where she was just like about the Aziz stuff, where she was just you had a bad date.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people had that reaction to it.
A lot of people, I think a lot of people especially with the Aziz stuff were like, yeah, that happens. Like,
but it's hard because that stuff should change and you do have to talk about it, but you also got to be sensitive to the fact that like some of these guys were never taught. So you got to like take the time to teach guys.
Look, in Aziz's defense, I don't mean to be crass, and I don't mean to be mean, but Aziz couldn't get pussy until he was famous.
You don't think so?
No.
Even when he was doing stand-up and stuff?
No.
Really?
No. He's fucking 5'2", 5'3".
I've never met him. I have no idea.
He's tiny. By the way, I've met him. I'm not trying to talk negative, but he's not a very pleasant person. Before he was famous, I met him, and he was just very, almost like rude to me and Segura. Neither of us had a pleasant interaction with him. And we were trying to be nice. And so I'm sure he didn't have fucking great game because he wasn't a nice guy to be around with just a man. And he wasn't, it's not like he's over the top attractive and he's a smaller person. And so that's why guys like that try to get famous. Like he wasn't just like a regular man who learned how to kiss a girl at like 15, 14.
I don't know though, because I've known like really good looking guys who don't realize that aren't considerate. There's two ends of the spectrum. Okay.
Guys who get pussy for the first time at 25 or 29 or whatever. Right. And then there's guys that are these fucking like alphas who have been walking through life like a bull in a china shop going, what? I can't just finger her through her pants? And you're like, huh?
I think there's guys who are in between that. I think there's guys who feel really insecure and go, I felt really insecure, so I didn't know how to talk about sex. And I'm like, then you probably did some stuff that they weren't comfortable with.
You had to, like, I think most guys, you had to have cool chicks. You had to have cool chicks that you hooked up with that were like, whoa, slow down.
Yeah, it's all communication. That's all it is. It's like a lot of times I don't think.
But that's putting it on, that almost in a weird way sounds like we're putting it on women to teach men how to behave.
No, I think it's just got to be like better represented. I think it is more and more like, I don't know if you've noticed as you've been watching things, like there's more people going like, hey, do you want to stop? Is this cool? Like just real quick in movies and stuff. And women, I think, recognize it more when it happens. You go, oh, that's cool that they put that in there. Yeah. Because there are lots of guys who like been with lots of girls, like, and they don't know they're supposed to talk. They don't know they're supposed to go, hey, are you okay? They don't know they're supposed to talk about it. And you're like, hey, like that wasn't great for me. That kind of sucked. And they're just like, oh, I've never talked to anybody about it. And you're like, you've been inside people and you've never thought to go, you good? You all right? Was that good for you? You've just always been like, I came, I'm done.
You've been inside
that was
people.
Sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, are you serious? Like if I bump into someone on the street, I'm like, do you need me to drive you somewhere? Yeah. Like, I'm sorry that I put you in this position.
There's people there's the amount of, I'm not a big sex guy, so it's hard for me to speak about that at all. I just never, I wasn't good at it when I started it. I was always embarrassed. I was always ashamed. So if I had sex with someone, suffice to say, it was not on the first time that we hooked up. It was not on the fucking, I'm not good at that. I'm not.
Right.
So I'm a bad representative of that. But I do know that I had friends in college who you'd hear them talk about sexual conquests and be like, yeah, sounded sketchy.
Well, and there are guys who just think they're supposed to act that way. Like, and that just gets ingrained in them where they just go like, I had sex with this many people and I feel like I should feel good about that or something. They just feel like they're supposed to do that in the same way that some women grow up and feel like, oh, my number shouldn't get too high. It's all bullshit. It's
I think if there was one thing I could share with young men, it would be like, hey, hold on to your virginity just a little longer than you think you should.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's totally okay.
And so many guys are like, we got to get rid of this.
Dude, when I was 14, I was like, I need to lose my virginity now. That was my
14?
At 14, when I got into high school.
Oh, wow.
Was I 15? I was 15. I was 14, turning 15. I was like, I need to lose my virginity now. This is the most important thing on my plate is getting rid of this virginity. And was in a panic until I was 17. I lost it when I was 17, and man, the second I lost it, I regretted it more than anything I've ever regretted. I realized very quickly, I am not ready for this. This is a grown-up thing, and I am not a grown-up. I just want to go back to being a kid. Fuck this. And I had a fucking not a good experience. Do you think you've had more sex than me or less sex than me?
No, definitely less.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Really? Definitely less. I know how many people you've had sex with. You've talked about it. Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah. I listen to this podcast.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I talk about it a lot. There's things I feel like I beat up on Aziz sometimes because I feel like he's a bad example. His name always comes up whenever Me Too comes up because he kind of got
that's the one people are debating.
I feel like
everything else, people are pretty.
Everyone else is like, oh, Harvey Weinstein's a fucking creep.
Yeah.
But that's why not to like. That's the reason people came to Hollywood. Is they're dorks, and they couldn't get pussy, and this was the way to get pussy. That was it.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of people are out here just to get pussy. Very few people are into art.
I know. I do always know when I hear stories because I have a lot of young female friends who are in this business, whether they're writers or performers or just kind of in the scene or whatever, and they'll tell me stories about famous people who they got asked out by once, and just the horrifyingly oblivious shit they did, and I'm like, oh, that's just those people have been famous too long and didn't ever have to become considerate for, I don't know,
or just connect with human beings.
Yeah,
it was about. I mean, I've witnessed it. Famous people just being like, "You're gonna suck our dicks, right?" And you're just like, who speaks to anyone like that?
Yeah.
I remember I had an experience where I realized I saw a young girl in a situation that she was quite compromised in, and I remember realizing in that moment, everyone just wants to be heard. Everyone. She doesn't want to be a sexual object, despite the fact that is how she made her living and that is her business. She also wants to be just like a cool person and be treated cool. And no one was doing that. They were almost laughing at her. And I was like, ugh. I was like, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
It almost really, I almost quit drinking that night because I was like, I think alcohol's turning everyone into that. I think alcohol was pulling everyone's empathy away. And it was like treating people like shit. And I think alcohol was allowing her to let them treat her like shit. And I was like, this isn't cool.
Yeah.
But see, that's part of something that was so commonplace. Was they got a fraternity, get two strippers, they come in and strip for everyone, and everyone would almost be disrespectful to them. And that was the fun of it, I guess. And then the women were like, well, this is how we make a living.
Yeah.
Ass to ass. And it was like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of misogyny in my life.
Yeah.
I've seen a fucking dickload. I tried to have a conversation with Leanne about the basis of misogyny last night. I'm gonna run it by you. And
okay.
I think this could be a bit.
Okay.
I'm trying to work on a bit about misogyny because Halston and I had a very I feel honest conversation with Leanne, and she did not take it well. She was not a fan of it. But our point was the base of all misogyny, for the most part, is guys getting their heart broken or trashed by a girl cheating on them, and then they just shut down. They're like, fuck women. And then all their friends who have been trashed jump in, and they're like, yeah, fuck that bitch. You know what you got to do? You got to fuck a bitch just like her, come in her stomach and throw $1 on her and go, take that whore, and then you'll be over this other chick. I mean, that's so many, when you're introduced to misogyny as a child, as it's usually when someone just got their heart broke as a guy, or you got your heart broke. That's how you get introduced to misogyny. And then my premise I had last night, which I was a little buzzed.
Is this what Leanne didn't like? The premise?
She was doing this the whole time.
Oh,
and I was like,
God.
babe, I'm working on a bit.
Okay, let me see.
So there's a certain age. My daughters are at an age right now where there's no physical touching between me and them. I maybe get a side hug.
Right.
They lean in with their shoulder because I don't want their boobs to touch me.
Yeah, you're a good dad.
Yeah, and so they're like, I get a side hug, and if I ask for kisses, but I don't get a kiss, they would never kiss me.
Yeah,
would never kiss me, and which is fine, I guess.
Yeah,
but I don't get a kiss on their cheek. I couldn't kiss anywhere on their face. I get a kiss on the top of their head. And I'm like, And then I said, I wonder if the roots of misogyny are natural in that when women start to branch off from their dad. And by the way, my daughters will lay on my wife, hug my wife, kiss my wife on the cheek. My wife gets so much affection from these girls and I get none. And I wonder if the roots of misogyny are natural, that when a woman starts to get estrogen, nature pulls her away from her father, creating a distance between men and women. Leanne's like, you're out of your fucking mind. They love you. And I was like, yeah, but I don't get love the way you get love. By the way, I was just kissing them on the lips like 5 years ago. Like that. You could give them a kiss on the lips when they were babies.
Right.
And then one day it's just not cool anymore.
Yeah.
And there's this line drawn between a daughter and her dad where it's like you can go throw a ball with her, and it's like I'm just as affectionate as my wife, but I don't get it from my daughters. That was my drunken theory last night.
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember when I stopped kissing my dad on the lips. Like that was like a young thing. But like my mom too, I wasn't like kissing my mom on the lips. Very old. But also my
sister started kissing the girls on the lips when we had them as babies. We didn't kiss them on the lips. We didn't. And my sister kissed my daughter Georgia on the lips. And we were like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm giving her a kiss. And we're like, on the lips? And she was like, yeah, where else were you going to kiss her? I was like, we've been kissing her cheek. And she's like, oh my God, don't fucking be weird about that.
Really?
Kiss them on the lips. And so then we started kissing them on the lips. Isla shut it down very fucking young. Very young. Isla's like, no, you don't kiss me on the lips. On the cheek, big guy.
I think it depends on the kid too, because like I've always like been pretty affectionate with my dad. Like I've always hugged my dad a lot. My dad's always hugged me a lot.
Sit on his lap?
Not too old. Not like probably 13? Not after I got my period. And I got my period at 10.
Oh, when you get your period, that's when.
Yeah, that's what my grandpa told my dad. Because my dad thought he was gonna have boys, and when he had me, he's like, "What do you do with a girl?" And my grandpa's like, "Treat them like a boy till they're 10. Like, that's all you do, and it's fine." But I hugged. I had like I didn't do like side hugs with my dad. I had like full on hugs with my dad all growing up. So I don't know that I have the same experience. But also, my mom was dead, and my stepmom wasn't super maternal naturally.
Oh, really?
So if I was gonna get it from somewhere, it had to be my dad. And my dad's very sensitive. He's like a very probably similar to you, like very affectionate and all that. So I don't feel like that's what happened for me. But I have another sister who like, even with me, she's like, if you wanted to hug her, you had to like permission to approach the bench. What parts of your back can I touch? Because if you like touched a part of her back she didn't want you to touch, she's like, I don't like it when you touch my back. She's like, wait. I want to go under, and you got to do this.
Wait, why?
And she decides when it's over.
That's Isla. What do you think happened?
I don't know. Is
she a regular human being now?
Yeah, she's totally normal. But she's still kind of like, she's not as touchy feeling. She's a little more like, yeah, we can hug. But if you go, you kind of have to ask her, like, hey, can I have a hug?
So wait, does she have a boyfriend?
Yeah, she does.
And he can touch her and stuff?
Yeah. They're good.
Because Isla's like that. Isla, really? You cannot, oh, fuck no. You cannot just go in and try to get a hug from her, you'll get kicked.
Really? Is she very self-sufficient?
No.
Really?
She's fucking useless. You've heard me talk about her.
She seems very independent from what you talk about.
She's independent in her own brain, but she's not independent in life.
Well, yeah, she's a kid. But I mean, like, is she like independently minded and kind of like, I'm my own thing. I don't need anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
That's how my sister is and was as a
definitely,
kid.
We had a knockdown drag-out fight last night.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a long story, but it was the thing with it hitting her in the face. Yeah. And tensions rose. She yelled at me, and I said, "You're not allowed to yell at me."
Yeah.
I made her think about it. I went and shot Something's Burning, came back. I accepted my responsibility in the fight, told her I was sorry. Mm-hmm. She basically said, cool. I'm glad you're sorry. I feel like I messed up a little bit too. All right. And I go, well, I love you. And she's like, thank you. And I was like, no. And we had a fucking fight that if you see her on the exit, you'll see the tension still.
Yeah.
Is that we could not get her to say, I love you to me. And she's like,
yeah.
And then what it was, she's like, I already said it. We're like, you didn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm not saying it again. And I was like, she goes, trust me, I said it. And we're like, we were just sitting here. You didn't fucking say it. She goes, well, I'm not saying it now. And we're like, and it was almost like defiant.
Yeah. My dad used to get really hurt by my sister, like not hugging him or like not wanting him.
Oh my God.
And I had to be like, I'm her best friend and she won't let me like just go up and hug her. Like,
well, how do you get through that? Because we're having a hard time getting through that.
I kind of feel like you just got to meet them where they're at. Like my sister, I know, but I don't know what to tell you.
Send them to fucking boot camp. I want to send her
if she's being like an asshole, that's one thing. Like she's got to apologize for
fun.
yelling at you. That's not
fun.
cool. But
we all laugh. We all have a great time together.
But you can't make her say I love you. You can make her be like, hey, you yelled at me and that's super disrespectful. I'm your dad.
How come I can't make her say I love you? That's not fair.
I know, but it's kind of like making someone kiss you on the lips.
No, it's not.
It is.
I say I love you. You say it right back to me. That's how it works. Especially if you love me. If you don't love me, you don't have to say it. But if you fucking love me, you say it right back to me. This is my fucking... We're getting into the fight I got into last night.
Yeah.
This is my fucking house. I pay for everything.
Yeah.
The braces on your teeth, I fucking paid for. You like that bed? I paid for that.
Right.
I paid for everything. When I say I love you, you look me in the eyes and say I love you too, Dad. That's it. I don't ask for much. Fucking, this is the exact fight.
I get that. I would feel the same way as a parent, I think. But with a kid like that, I think some kids are just really stubborn and they're just like, no, I don't have to do that. I'm my own person. And like, I shouldn't be asked to. I would have never said that to my dad. I would have never defied my dad like that.
Oh, Georgia would never defy me like that.
Yeah.
And Isla just stares at me.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad used to get so pissed at my sister. My sister didn't do anything wrong. She like really didn't at all. But he felt like she wasn't quite, he didn't know everything about her. And he didn't know how she felt about him.
Oh my God.
And like, it made him, he would like get pissed at her and she didn't even do anything. And I'm like, meanwhile, my other sister's like sneaking out and stuff, but he doesn't know about that because she's so charming and she'll give him hugs and be like, hi, Dad, do you have $5? Like, so what do you want? You want the kid who's like,
oh my God,
smoking crack but says I love you to your face? Or do you want the kid who's like, look, I'll say I love you when I'm good and ready. I'm going to go to my room and read.
Oh my God.
You know?
That is so Isla. It's like a defiant.
A very strong sense of self.
Yeah, I just want to break her.
Right, but you can't.
I want to break her like a horse.
That's a dead end because the more you'll try to break her, the more she's going to.
That's what Leanne said last night. The more you try to break her, the harder her will gets.
Yeah.
We one time, I know I've probably, you've heard me probably try to talk about this on stage, but one time we lied to the girls and said we were sending them to boarding school. You ever heard me talk about this?
No.
Leanne and I were buzzed. We had been at a big party and the girls had gotten into a fight. And I want to say we were asked to leave. I don't know if we were asked to leave, but we left the party because the fight was so bad. Fight continued in the car.
Mm-hmm.
We got back to the house. This is when they shared a room. Actually, we were adding on to the house at the time. And Leanne and I were living in the living room and the girls were living in one bedroom. And we went in and Leanne said, I don't know what to do with you two. If you hate each other like this, I don't know what to do. And they were just dug heels in. They were going to fucking fight. She goes, maybe we send you guys to boarding school. And by the way, I'm well aware we can't afford boarding school.
Right.
Like I hear I didn't call her bluff, but I went, okay, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
She goes, what do you think, Dad? Do we just send her to boarding school? Maybe they'll learn how to love each other. And I was like, maybe. And immediately George was like, hold on. And Isla's literally like, send me upstate, motherfucker. Like, I can see it in her eyes. I mean, it was so, Isla cared so little about the idea of going to boarding school. And while George is melting down, and I like get on the phone, I'm like, let me check, see if they have any availabilities, Mom. And I'm like, hello? Yeah, I have 2 girls for boarding school.
2 girls for boarding school?
Yeah. Let me, hold on one second. Hey, Leanne, do you want them to share a room or different rooms? And she goes, different rooms. Let them see each other passing in the hallway. And I was like, 2 different rooms, please. And by now, George is like crying. She's like, Mom, Dad, I swear to God, I'll be a better daughter. I swear to God, I'll be a better daughter. And Isla's like folding clothes going, grab my suitcase. I'm ready to go. Send me upstate. I remember the look on her thing was like, it wasn't until we told Isla you had to shower every day that she fucking melted down.
But she did finally melt down?
Yeah, she was like, I don't want to shower. I mean, I really actually feel really bad about this parenting because we told them at that night, okay, you know what? If you guys can learn to behave and love each other and work as a team, then Mom and Dad and I won't send you to boarding school.
Yeah.
And the next morning, Georgia came out and she was like, Daddy, I'll be the best little girl you've ever seen. Just don't send me to boarding school. And I was like, oh my God, baby, have you been sitting? I was like, it was a lie. We were just trying to break Isla.
Yeah.
She was like, what? I was like, no, wait, baby, we're redoing the fucking house. I'm building your own room. Yeah. Like, I'm definitely not sending you to fucking boarding school.
Right.
But man, Georgia cracked so quick. And Isla was just like, okay.
Oh man, that's me and my sister. My sister's, and I think that's why it freaks you out because you don't know how to control a kid who doesn't care if what you do. If they're not afraid of you, you're like, I got nothing. That's why it's so scary to you. You're like, okay, so you're not afraid of me withholding love. You're not afraid of me sending you away. I got nothing. It doesn't feel like you respect me. Yeah. So why would you do anything?
Dude,
I say.
One time, we were at the lake house, and Leanne's aunts were both alive at the time, and they had paid for the furniture in the lake house. And Isla was wet in a bathing suit and jumping on the couch. And they said, no, Isla, you will not disrespect that furniture. And she just kept doing it. And Leanne went, Isla, baby, you will not disrespect that furniture. Isla must have been 5, 6 years old. She got off the couch, looked at Leanne, turned around and spit on the couch. And I was like,
oh, wow. Okay, that's another level.
I was like,
none of my sisters are like that.
I was like, motherfucker. There's only one other kid that I remember. There was this story. This happened when I was in like first grade. Uh-huh. This is one of my favorite personality-based stories. Louis Fagan was a kid's name. Pat Fagan was my friend. Louis Fagan was his younger brother. Louis was just mischievous, like at a young age, defiantly mischievous. By the way, I shouldn't share that, but I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
He went to Pat's school and for lunch, and Pat was in like first grade, and there was a microphone on the stage. He went up and he grabbed the microphone, and he started singing in the microphone. And one of the nuns came up, grabbed the microphone from him, smacked him in the hand, and said, "You do not talk in this microphone." So then he went up and he grabbed it, and he grabbed the microphone again, and then pretended to talk in the microphone. And the nun came up, smacked him on the hand, put the microphone down on the ground on the stage, and says, "If you touch this microphone one more time, I'm gonna smack you on your ass." She walked away, and Louis got on the stage, crawled on his arms and stomach over to the laying microphone on the stage, put his head down on the stage right up to the microphone and goes, "Sister." And but I remember that fucking story so vividly of just defiance. Yeah. I never had that. I was I'm very much a rule follower.
I don't understand that at all. Yeah. Well, and part of being a performer, most performers I feel like are just people pleasers, and you just want everyone to love you and like you.
Some are just fucking like Ari Shaffir is not a people pleaser.
Right.
Have you ever met Ari?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know him well at all.
Yeah, okay. He's not a people pleaser. I don't think Segura's a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Do you think your comedy comes from people pleasing?
I think that the reason I continue to do it, because the lifestyle sure doesn't agree with my personality. I think the need to be liked, be loved, be impressive is probably the root of it.
Yeah.
And just wanting people to see like the best parts of you real quick in a very controlled environment.
Yeah.
And I think early on you go, "Oh, I'm really funny. Okay, I'll just be really funny at the highest level possible. And that'll be how people like me. And they can like me from over there. And then I don't have to."
So what's the goal? Do you want the road is rough.
Yeah.
Doing the road is rough.
Yeah.
Theaters seem like they're not as rough. They're just as fucking rough.
Are they just as rough?
Oh, the way I do
then
them,
why am I going for that? See, the more you hear.
What theaters are, I'll tell you, my last theater run was aggressive.
But you didn't have to do that many dates. Is the other thing? No, you didn't.
100%.
It's up to you, though.
No, it's not.
Why do you have to do that many dates?
Because people want to see you. You better make hay while the sun shines.
But that's you being afraid that it's going to dry up and it's going to end, which is fair.
Yeah.
I get that.
I'm a catastrophe thinker.
Yeah,
I think dry up. Segura still thinks, we both think, when's this going to dry up? When are people going to be done with us? When are we going to be the flavor of the week?
Right. So save enough money to where that's not as scary, maybe.
I got that.
Then you're fine. But
then you go on another tour and you're like, we're adding shows. You're like, add all the shows you want. Add whatever you want.
And I totally get that because I'm dealing with that at my level.
Yeah.
And I've had to take steps back and go, I have to cancel some stuff. Because if I don't, I'm going to self-destruct.
So then what's the goal? Do you want to go in, do theaters twice a month, do a sitcom, have your own late night talk show? What's the goal?
I mean, we have a show that we're developing that I would love to get made because it's very like personal and it's what I don't want to just like make anything. I don't have like, we had that ABC deal that didn't go, that I was so glad it didn't go because it was just like a multicam sitcom, which I would have done. Like I would have done it to like learn, which you gave me the best advice about it. I was like, it's just not going to go. And you're like, yeah, it probably won't, but who cares? Learn a bunch. And that's what I did. And I just enjoyed the process. But what we're working on now is like something I do feel passionately about. And I feel like
the one with your friends?
No.
Okay.
No. And yeah, I'd love for that to work out. I mean, I think it's going to ebb and flow. I mean, the goal has always been like to be able to tour theaters and travel with the support I want. And,
Tour bus?
I don't know.
So great.
I know. I've been on Brian's.
So great. Well, no. When it's yours, it's fucking next level.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure that's better than flying everywhere.
Oh my God.
But again, that's, however far in the future. But yeah, the ultimate goal is like, I'd love to just be able to tour theaters and like make my own schedule. And I already kind of feel like that where it's like, yeah, you could be on the road every weekend if you wanted. And before I got the special, I was like, we got to go down to like 2 weekends a month so that I can, not now. Yeah. But then I like scheduled all the stuff and then I've been having like this health shit and it was like, okay, so if I do actually have to maybe take a couple things off. I took like 2 weekends off where I was just like, okay, we have to not do this and just like run it in town or something.
It's really hard to do.
It's so hard to do because I have all those same feelings of like, okay, I have to make money now because it's all going to go away. I felt that way. I started doing comedy full time like almost 5 years ago when I was 21. And I just like this year felt like, oh, I'm a comedian now. Like it's not good. I don't have to go back to school. Like finally. And it's because like next year is like all booked out too. And you're just
really?
like, okay, yeah. Like up until the special comes out, it's all booked out. And then like from the special on is a bunch of dates in red that they're like, we'll negotiate that after the special, like that kind of thing. And you're just like, oh, so like this idea that like, oh, I'll have a break then, like that's never going to be a thing. And just learning how to stand up for yourself and go, that's not going to be good for me. I don't want to do that because your reps and it's their job to do this is to go like, this is why it would be good for you to do this. And you got to push back and go like, this is why I can't. And just don't. And I mean, I do think we have a very nice team that is like, yeah, health comes first. And if you were really like, I can't do something, they're like, okay. And there have been times that I was like, yeah, I can push through. And Judy's amazing. Judy's like, look, like I'm in it for the long haul. Like I'm here for your whole career, not just for you to make money now. Like she's like, you want me to cancel? She's like, you tell me if you want me to cancel something. I'll cancel whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm in the ER right now. And she's like, yeah, no, well, they'll figure it out.
What were you in the ER for?
Saturday. Yeah. I was, because I was taking new medication and
heart palpitations.
No, it's like really, I don't think it's heart palpitations. My psychiatrist thinks it was giving me coronary spasms and I had very bad chest pain. And everyone's like, maybe you're just anxious. And I was like, no, I'm not because I'm taking all these pills. Because I was up to like 10 of these pills a day because I was told I could take up to 30. And my chest hurts so bad. And I'm just in there like, I'm like, they're doing all these tests. I'm not sure what to do. Could we maybe, I don't know. I'm still here. Show's in 2 hours. Like, I'm not sure. And she's like, yeah, I'll call them. I think they'll get it. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know. Like they're injecting me with some painkiller. Maybe that'll help. Like, I don't know. Like, I just like, Because
I love you so much. You don't know how much I care about you. I really do. And I want you to relax in this because you're like Judy says, you're here for the long haul.
Yeah.
You're here for the long haul too.
Right.
And you're not going anywhere. This career.
But if you feel like that, can you imagine how I would feel like that? Because you feel like that and you really aren't going anywhere. And I'm coming up to hopefully get to a place where I can go, all right, I can relax. But if that never happens for any of us,
it's going to happen.
You got to decide now.
I mean, I think I'm a pretty good judge in comedy. Mm-hmm. I can definitely say like, oh, this guy or girl is going to go big. I can see that happening. I've thought that about you since day one.
That's very
Since
nice.
day one, you've consistently, every time you've worked with me, just murdered. Every time you've been put in pressure situations, you rose to the top. I'm telling you when I say this, you're in this for the long haul. I just want you to like, I want to like kidnap you, take you to a beach, get you drunk, and just go, and then let you just go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
That's what I said when I tried weed for the first time. I was like, is this how everyone else feels?
Yeah.
I'm like, is this how everyone else feels? Just like calm.
Weed's probably the best thing for you.
It honestly is. And I need to just like kind of accept that.
Yeah. And weed's the best thing for you. And are you working out? Mm-hmm.
You have to.
Are you eating healthy?
Yeah.
You were like, how can I, I mean, like, I'm like fucking frustrated because I go, you need to be you need Leanne. You need to fucking talk to Leanne. I'm not even joking. Yeah, because Leanne's so good at going like she'll say to me sometimes, I'll say something and I'll be in my head and I'll have panic attacks. She'll just go, oh, you're out of integrity. And you're like, what? She's like, oh, you're out of integrity. Leanne is so fucking amazing. We're going to go hang out in the house for a little bit after this. Okay. Because I also want to talk to you about your hour.
Okay, yeah, please.
Yeah. But Leanne's the fucking best.
Yeah.
You know what we'll do? We're trying to buy a new house. We're gonna get a fifth bedroom, and I'll put a bedroom in there so that when you feel like you need stability, you can come off the road. I won't be there. You just come to our house, and you just be like this older sister that sees George and Isla. You'll be comfortable hugging Isla. You know how to ask for it, and George will be like, I really like that top. Where did you get that? And Leanne can make you breakfast, and you can feel like you're fucking grounded.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Leanne's fucking Leanne might. I think when and if you find what I found in Leanne, when you find that partner that's just fucking down for you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Leanne's just literally an amazing. I got so fucking lucky.
Yeah, you are so lucky. I mean, yeah. I think every comedian wants a Leanne.
Oh, thank God I got her pregnant. Fuck. So you taped the special when? How long have we been going?
November 10th.
Oh, good. 1:40. That's
November 10th.
What's your schedule like? You gotta get out of here.
I gotta leave by 5:15, so I have some time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. What was I saying?
November 10th.
November 10th. Yeah, great. At the Aladin Theater in Portland.
That's a good month to record specials.
Yeah.
Me, Jim Jeffries, Tom Segura.
All
Taylor
recording
Tomlinson,
in November?
all recording in November.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hope the comedy gods have.
The comedy gods are taking care of us in November.
For me.
Yeah, of course they will.
We've been busy. We're focusing on people who are going to be here forever.
Were you doing it in Portland?
The Aladin.
The Aladin? Mm-hmm. Nice. How many is that seat?
Like 550.
550?
I didn't want to do it in a big one.
No, you want, hey, listen, if you are a fan of mine and you live in Portland, November 10th, go out and see her at the Aladin. We'll put this at the beginning of this, but go out and support her. Give her a standing ovation when she comes out on stage. Give her a standing ovation when she leaves the stage.
Just fake it.
They don't need to fake it. You will fucking love Taylor. Taylor is literally one of the best comics working, without a doubt. Your material is edgy when it needs to be, clean when it needs to be, and across the board. You're that blowjob joke I had of Leanne's. You're the reason I put that in the special. You're like, it's a great blowjob joke. And I remember looking at you. We were in Phoenix, and I was like, wait.
Oh, yeah.
For real? And you're like, oh, it's a great joke. And I was like, I thought it was pretty lowbrow. And you're like, no, it's a really great joke. I'd keep it in.
Yeah, because you weren't, I don't think you were starting with it or something.
And I was like, that goes in the special. Great.
Yeah.
Done. And so, I mean, I trust you impeccably when it comes to material. I have a joke I'm going to run by you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if but And if there's any dates that you're off and you want to hop on and run some material, my tour is wide open to you.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Whenever, like, if you're like, ooh, that's actually, I wouldn't mind hopping up. I'm in town that weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
Open door policy. I absolutely love you.
That's very nice.
And I mean that. There's very few people I genuinely care about. and I want to see you succeed. I want to see you blow up. I can't wait for it.
Thank you. And then we can come back here and I can talk about how I'm not handling it well.
No, just kind of.
Just let go a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we'll.
I feel like I've been around enough successful people, like you, Brian, whoever, like you see enough people who are successful who are like doing things the right way. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you. So Whitney Cummings was doing her special in DC when I was at the DC Improv.
Yeah.
And she ran like 10 minutes on one of my shows, the Thursday show. And like asked the manager if she could first off, and the manager's like, "Is it cool if Whitney Cummings?" I'm like, "Whitney Cummings could do the whole fucking show. Like, she doesn't have to ask her to 10 minutes." Spot. She comes in, she's like, "Thank you so much for letting me do a guest set. Like, I really appreciate." I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm nobody. Like, of course you can do 10 minutes." She does like exactly 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
She like gives me a shout out on her Instagram. She sends flowers to my hotel room the next day.
Whitney's a baller.
I was like, how do you even have time to be this good of a person?
She is amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, I came out of it going like, I mean, and I asked her for advice the other day and she's like, "Yeah, call me when you start meeting with people about such and such." And
by the way, lean on Whitney. She is a great asset. I know for a fact that I value her friendship a lot because I throw stuff her way when I go like, "Hey, I got this project," and I was like nervous and I was like, "Hey, can I talk to you about this?" And ran it by her, and you can see Whitney's brain works on. She has many different hats she's worn in this business, and you can watch her put on a different hat, and you can see it in her eyes. And she's like, "Yeah, I like that. I like this. I'm gonna go. I think you need to go forward with this. I think without a doubt. Now here's why." And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Thank God I got you in my life." And so lean on that.
Yeah, to be that like smart and successful, and also like that kind and considerate and cool, and just like, I was like, you could have just done this show. Like, you could have just run it. And she's like, well, the first time I ever headlined, somebody like bumped me and it was horrible. And like, I'm like, the fact that you even still think about that, you're so huge. Like, you could literally, I'm like, I would not have been mad at all. I would have been like, sure, thanks. Can I do a spot? Like, so when I see people like you, Brian, Whitney, Conan is another one who's
Conan loves you. Oh, you know what Conan's I got amazing. You know what I have? Fuck. I have great footage of me and the girls and Leanne and Conan talking about you backstage.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, I gotta get that to you.
That's so nice.
I gotta get that to you. I have it I'm sure it's on a computer. I gotta find that.
Oh, that's like.
Oh, I gotta get that to you. I have great footage of going. He brought you up. He's like, "You used to work with Taylor," and I went, "Oh my God, I absolutely love her." And Leanne's like, "Oh my God, she is so funny."
Oh, that's really nice.
Conan was like, "Oh my God, isn't she the best?" And we just talked positive about you. And we were.
I don't even need to see the video now.
Oh, it's great, and we were filming the whole time. I gotta get you that.
That's really nice. I'll watch that.
We gotta talk about your hour, the structure of your hour.
Yes.
We gotta talk about what you're gonna do to promote it.
Yeah. Your dance video, everyone's like freaking out over that.
Was a good.
It's so good.
Thank you.
Was that your idea?
Sold some tickets.
Yeah,
that's all that matters to me. Selling tickets. All I give a fuck about is people come and see me live. That's it. That's all it. And if me getting in a Speedo and dancing, or me doing whatever the fuck it takes to sell some tickets, I'm fucking in.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I don't have a problem with it. I am a silly fucking person. I don't need to be the coolest guy in the room. I'm not a badass.
But you are really cool, and you are a badass.
I'm just a fucking goofball.
You're cool, though. I've heard you say that. You're like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm like a cool.
Yeah, I've always been cool my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about being cool. But
I've always been cool my whole life. You're like your whole personality is like a sleepover. Like, I think you should call your next hour, "Hey, you know what we should do?" Oh my God. You're a human sleepover. Oh, that's just like, you know what would be awesome? Oh, you know what would be great? That excited anticipation. Even like me, who's terrified of doing fun things, hearing you go, "You know what would be great?" is like something in you goes like, "Oh, what would be great?"
Oh, that's fucking great. I love that. Human sleepover. I might have to call that my specialty, human sleepover.
Yeah, you are. You walk into a room and everyone's like, let's braid some hair and make some s'mores and throw someone in the pool.
Oh, I love throwing people in the pool. It's one of my favorite things ever. I like blocked punts and throwing people in the pool.
If I saw you at a barbecue and I didn't know anything about you, I'd be like, I'm going to steer clear of that guy near the pool.
You've got to hear Tom Segura's story about the first time he had sex with it's a long story. Anyway. I got to get you, I got to introduce you to Tom. You don't know Tom, do you?
No.
I got to introduce you to Tom. He needs you on his podcast.
I know Christina. She's awesome.
Oh, I'm gonna see him tomorrow. I'm gonna say there's two people, Jim Jeffries and you, that he needs to get on his podcast.
Because that's
nice. His podcast is funny as shit. What he does with Push, and they just have people on and show them fucking horrific videos that Tom thinks are fucking hilarious, and you are perfect for that. You are.
I'm horrified by everything.
Oh yeah, and then you know he's just gonna go like, so on the road, how much did Bert eat?
Right.
Oh, is that fat fuck, huh? Right. Fucking great. All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for doing
you
the
for
podcast.
having me.
Anytime.
I really appreciate it.
You know that I mean this when I say this, and I absolutely adore you. I want the best things in life for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really
Come on,
nice.
let's go talk to my family.
Yeah, let's do it.